And thanks to the man, Brian Petrie, for that 3-name Jack, because that has become very useful on television.
Yes.
All right, Ken Flo, before I let you go in about 60 seconds, I do need to get your thoughts on the announcement that Mike Tyson and Jake Paul will be competing on Netflix. As my colleague Chael Sonnen told me, we don't necessarily know if this is going to be boxing, weight class, how many rounds, what exactly is going to happen.
Right.
One thing we do know, if his birth certificate is to be believed, is that Mike Tyson will be 58 years of age when they compete. Now, depending on which video you're ingesting, you have seen Mike Tyson in a wheelchair with a cane or absolutely destroying pads and looking like he could kill most any man on the street, of any age. So I don't really know what my thesis statement is on the fight. I've been asking people if they think Mike Tyson can knock out Jake Paul. And, if your answer to that is yes, then I would imagine you don't have any problem with this fight being made. But philosophically, a lot of people seem to have an issue with it because of Tyson's age. What are your thoughts on this being distributed to the masses on Netflix? And who do you think wins?
Gosh, I mean, Jake Paul is an absolute promotional genius because he knows everyone wants to see him get knocked out, and he picked a guy in Mike Tyson who, yes, at 58 could probably still knock out, I think, most men on the planet. I look at some of those videos, John, that you were talking about, him hitting pads, and I'm like, are they fast forwarding this thing? How is a 58-year-old man still moving with that kind of speed and ferocity? Well, you're talking about Mike Tyson, who probably won the genetic lottery. So it's absolutely possible. Now, how able he is or how capable he's going to be later on in the fight, depending on how many rounds we're talking about, is another question. So, yeah, I'm curious to see how it goes. I think it's an interesting one. It's one of those things where, promotionally, you're like, this is genius. Fight-wise, with a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, I hope he doesn't get hurt. Now, is Jake Paul that guy to maybe hurt him? I don't know. Possibly. Jake isn't a small guy,
right.
And his boxing skills shouldn't be slept on. So I'm curious. It's piqued my interest, and I don't typically like these kind of fights. So I don't know. Out of all the fights that I get asked about, people have been hitting me up, blowing up my phone because of this one, which is interesting.
Right. Well, full disclosure, I don't get the chance to sit down with Kenny in person in front of these podcasts very often, but I was with Kenny on Friday night and we had watched the Francis Ngannou, Anthony Joshua stuff. And I think I said to you, like, are we going to talk about, we have to talk about this? And you're like, well, dude, everybody's fucking texting me about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. So I guess we're talking about it a little bit. All right. Kenny Florian, martialarts.com is live, as is jonanik.com, where you can support the show with our merchandise, Anik Florian podcast stuff, One More Sleep, all yours at jonanik.com with promo code One More Sleep. Also, don't forget Bilal Muhammad and Jason Anik live with Remember the Show every Thursday on the Anik and Florian podcast YouTube channel. All right, we got to get on out of here. Thanks to Ray Longo, UFC bantamweight contender Kyler Phillips, Brian Petrie, our executive producer Cody Merrow, and all of you out there, most importantly, for all the support in person and otherwise, and for supporting the Anik and Florian podcast. We will be back with you next Monday to recap Tuivasa and Tabora. Until then, for Ken Flo, I'm Jon Anik. Have a great week. Yo fucking later.
Soul to the bread, he's cornbread. Cornbread! He's cornbread. Cornbread! Life is so precious, do the best that you can. Keep your hands on the bar, he's the open man. He's